Hello beautiful people. Today's tutorial I'm going to be teaching you how to draft a perfect Princess Busteir pattern for size 6, size 8 and size 10 UK size chart. If you're new to this channel, I'm Gift God's Time by name and you're welcome to the family, and to all my existing subscribers, thank you for your support. Firstly, I'm going to be drawing my starting line. Next, I'm going to be imputing my shoulder measurements. My shoulder is 14 divided by 2, that is 7. So I'm going to mark 7 over there. Next, I'm going to mark my neckline, that is the basic neckline. I'll be using 3 inches in width and 3 inches in depth, and then I will curve it, giving like a U-shape neckline. The dart intake I will be using for the entire process for both the front and the back pattern can be used for size bust 32, T bust 36, that is UK size range, size 6, 8 and 10. Next, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. This is to give my shoulder a slant. So I'm going to connect that 1 inch down to my shoulder point with a slant rule, as you can see from the video, because our shoulder is not straight, it's slant. Next, I'm going to be imputing my armhole depth, which is 7.5, and to get it, take your bust measurement, divide by 6 plus 1.5 inches. So what I'm doing, I'm just making sure that it's still aligned with my shoulder, that is the 7 inches. So now I'll draw a straight line to connect it. This line is the 7.5 inches, my armhole depth. So I'm just going to extend the line, and then I'm going to impute my bust measurement, divide by 4. My bust measurement is 36 divided by 4, which is 9. So I'm going to mark it over there. Then I'm going to take the midpoint of that 7.5 inches we took earlier. Once I get the midpoint, I'm going to mark it, as you can see from the video. Then next, I'm going to take ½ inch inward, and then I'm going to connect these 3 lines together. I also have a detailed tutorial on how to draft a basic bodice pattern, and I'll drop it in my description box below if I'm too fast in this video. Right now, I'll be drawing all the horizontal lines. So firstly, I'm going to take from my shoulder to my bust region, which is 10 inches. Then I'll take my under bust, which is 13.5. And lastly, my waist region, which is 17 inches. After marking the points, I'm going to extend the lines, as you can see me doing on the video, and then I'll have to label it. So next, I'm going to be taking my nipple to nipple measurements. My nipple to nipple measurement is 8 inches, 8 divided by 2, which is 4, because this pattern is on fold. So I'm marking 4 inches. So I'll draw a straight line. Next, this part towards the fold part, the center fold, this smaller part, I'm going to be taking ½ inch from under my bust till my waist region. So I'll mark ½ inch and then draw it with a straight rule. So next, I'm going to connect the dart legs. So I'm going to draw a slant rule from my bust point over to my under bust, as you can see me do in the video. So this is how yours should look like. So now to this other part, this other region tending towards the armhole, I'm going to be taking 1.5 inches from my under bust till my waist region. Next, I will connect the 2 lines together. So this is what you should do. Then I'm going to connect it, extend the dart leg using my curve rule. So this is how you should place your curve rule to connect the underbust to the bust region. So next, I'm going to calculate my armhole. So you'll follow the armhole curve with your tape and calculate it. So whatever figure you get, you are going to divide it by 2. I got 9 for mine. So 9 inches divided by 2, which is 4.5. So now I'm still going to curve my tape towards the armhole to get 4.5. So from that 4.5 points, I'm going to connect it to my bust region, as you can see me illustrating with my hands. Next, what I'll be doing, I'll be taking half inch on both sides of that 4.5 points we marked. So I'm going to be taking half inch on both sides, and then I'll be connecting the darts to my bust region. So to this dart leg I'm illustrating with my hands, the half inch we took, one of the half inch, I'm going to be extending it with 1 inch because we took half inch on both sides. So half inch plus half inch, that is 1 inch. So I'm extending it with 1 inch. If you don't do it, there will be shortage. So also to the armhole region, I'm also going to extend it with 1 inch, and then I will be connecting my new armhole line. So that is what I'm doing. If you don't extend it, by the time you are sewing, there will be shortage. So this is very important. So we are done with it. So lastly, the same points you took for armhole is the same thing with the bust. So the only measurement I'm going to be adding now is my waist region. So my waist measurement is 31 divided by 4. I'm getting 7 3/4. So I'm going to mark it, then add my dart intake, which is 2 inches. So now I'm going to connect the line from that armhole all the way to the waist region. This part is the part I'm going to cut out. I don't need it. So proceed to cut out our pattern. So this is how I'm cutting. You watch closely to how I'm cutting it. I'm cutting off the parts I don't need out. So this is how you should cut yours. So this is the pattern we're going to be using for the front. Now if you notice at that side front there's a sharp edge, so I'm going to curve it. You make sure your pattern rule aligns with the two lines to just give it that curve, as you can see from the video. So now I'm going to cut it out. You don't need any sharp points on this your pattern. You don't need it. That's why I'm curving it and cutting it out. So now I'm going to label this my center front on fold, and this is the side front. This is our pattern we're going to be using. As you can see, the bust region aligned properly, and also the under bust, and lastly the waist. So this is the front pattern we need. We'll proceed to draft the back pattern now. You can use a normal basic bodice pattern for that of the back with a princess front. It still looks beautiful, but for the sake of this tutorial I'm going to be making it a princess back as well. So I've gone ahead to draw my starting line. Next I'm going to be imputing my shoulder measurements, which is 7, and then I'm going to be imputing my neckline as well. So the neck I'll be using 3 inches for the width and 1 inch for the depth. This is a basic neckline for the back, and then I'll be covering it with my free hand to give it a round neckline. Next, I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch. This is to give my shoulder a slant, and I'll connect it to my shoulder point. Next, I'm going to take my 7.5 inches, which is my armhole depth, and I'm going to make sure that it's aligned with my shoulder. So that is what I'm doing, the same way I did for the front part. So to get this, if in case you didn't get it at first, you take your bust measurement, divide by 6 plus 1.5. You will get your armhole distance. So right now I'm taking my bust measurement divide by 4, which is 36 divided by 4, that is 9. Now from the armhole depth, which is 7.5, I'm taking the midpoint. So because this is the back part, you don't need to go inward by ½ inch. We'll just connect it from that midpoint to that extended line. Next, I'm going to be taking all my horizontal measurements. So from the shoulder part, I'm going to take my bust point, which is 10, under bust, which is 13.5, and lastly, the waist region. And then I will extend the lines. Now I will take my bust span measurement, which is 8 divided by 2, that is 4. So I'm going to mark 4 all through and connect it with a straight rule. So now I'm going to be taking the same way I did for the front, ½ inch from the under bust till I get till the waist region. So I'm just going to mark it and connect it with a straight rule. Then from the under bust, I'm going to connect it to the bust with a slant rule, as you can see me doing in the video. I'm also going to do the same thing to the other side. So this is your normal dart you take in your on your back pattern when you are drafting your back pattern. This is the normal dart. Now the back is quite different from that of the front. So from that midpoint, I'm going to be going upwards by 1.5 inch because we don't want a curve at the back. There is no breast at the back. So to avoid that curvy nature, we're going to extend it by 1.5 inch from the midpoint and connect it to the bust region. Now I'll be marking ½ inch on both sides of that point I drew. This is done to eliminate any form of bulginess on the clothes. So by the time I take my ½ inch, I will extend the line to the bust region. After that, I'm going to extend that line I'm illustrating with my hands. I'm going to extend it with 1 inch, the same way I did for the front. And then I'm also going to go to the armhole and extend it with 1 inch as well. This will form my new armhole. So I'm going to connect the two lines together using my curve rule. So once that is done, next I'm going to go to my waist region, my waist divide by 4, whatever I get I'll mark it, then take the dart intake, which is 1 inch, and then I'll mark it and then connect it to my armhole. Next, this part I'm marking, I don't need it, so I'll cut it off. So now I'm cutting the pattern the same way I did for the front. So that is the center back where there will be zipper. So I'm cutting off that X region. I do not need it. So this is my back pattern for the princess cut. I'm going ahead to label it, that is the center back on fold, and that is the side back. So these are the pieces for the princess cut. This is the back pattern and this is the front pattern. Please do not forget to add your allowances by the time you're cutting it on your fabric by the sides and also the zipper parts. If you find this video helpful, do not forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you are yet to. See you in my next tutorial. Bye.